Hello. Hello. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. How are you guys? Well, thank you. Well, this is Robert. I'm from EasyStack. And EasyStack is a leading open cloud computing company. And I take care of marketing. And this is my colleague, Adrian. Adrian, please.
Hi everyone, I'm Adrian and I'm responsible for global product management. So I'll be doing some product demonstration later on and some scenario walkthrough. Right, Robert?
Thank you, Adrian. And EasyStack. So the founders of EasyStack were the former IBMers and who have the long history and the engagement with the OpenStack technology. And our vision is to, on the cloud infrastructure software domain, to be the global leader based on the open source technologies. And so, bear in mind in that vision, today, EasyStack is the gold member of OpenStack Foundation, and also we play important role in other open source communities, including the CNCF, including the OCI, and also the Linux Foundation. And also, we were the top contributor of each of the release of the other open source technologies. And we are very honored to be recognized by the Gartner, and we were listed as the cool vendor. And also, we were listed in Gartner's OpenStack Global Competitive Landscape Report, and to be listed as one of the 8 on the list OpenStack distro vendors. So, bear in mind that OpenStack is about open and about stack. So we never stop the innovation in our technology, and we combine with different open source technologies, including the OpenStack, Ceph, and Kubernetes, and Linux, and deliver it as the total solution and deliver it to our customers. And today, we are very happy that EasyStack is serving more than 200 large enterprise companies with our software infrastructure and to help them innovation. And to know more about our software infrastructure, and Adrian, would you please share with us more about the information?
Okay, thank you, Robert. So I'll just go ahead. Starting with our EasyStack product portfolio here. So we have actually accomplished quite a lot over the past 4 years. As Robert mentioned earlier on, we have accumulated a number of clients, enterprise clients who we have grown with them. And I would like to give you, I guess, a focus overview on what we are going to introduce to you, some demo today. Mainly working with many of our industry leaders over the past 4 years. They have embarked on a journey with us on cloud, OpenStack cloud especially. And what we have found out is that they needed to have the greater agility. So from traditional enterprise application space, they wanted to move to cloud native, and some are in the process of transformation, and also to be able to respond and meet the business, meet business requirements proactively, engaging their market. So what I will do over here is to actually demonstrate a couple of scenarios over the next 10 minutes or so about what we would help a typical enterprise client who is working with EasyStack. So in the core product line, in fact, we wanted to start with allowing us to deploy a software infrastructure environment. That's kind of a first step before we can do anything, right? Before a developer can use anything, right? So we will have an ES Cloud and ES Container. Basically, we're focusing on this layer here. ES Cloud, ES Container, a combination of capability that will help us achieve the software infrastructure environment implementation. So it's going to take a couple of minutes, and let's start with the demo.
Video, please.
So when we get into the dashboard, we would initialize a container cluster, right? And as you can see, there's you need to fill in what the cluster name is. So over here, we'll give it a demo name.
大一点声。
Yeah. And then we select a bay model. So that's a default bay model, and then we have a key pair for authentication. At the same time, we have some default settings for master node, and we chose 2 slave nodes. And we can also choose to assign IP addresses to the nodes. So when we do that, right, behind the scenes, basically this particular panel will update us on what the backend is doing. So it's creating a master node in our clusters of servers. When we refresh it, the screen, you will indicate that the master node is in progress or being initiated. So now the master node has been initialized. And then we will have to wait for a little bit of time before the slave nodes are being created. So slowly, the slave nodes will be initialized as well at the back end. And then you'll be allocated resources corresponding to it. So now you see that one of them is completed already, active, and then the second one is active. So we are refreshing again. We will want to later on show you a little bit of the interface of how our container management clustering user interface dashboard will be like. So we click on the Manage Cluster button, and brings you into a dashboard that is solely telling us what is happening in our container cluster. So you can see that there's 3 nodes over here, all the information that's been created. And there are also on the left-hand panel, there's a lot of menu items that would help you manage your container clusters. So right now, there's no pods in there. There's also some of the applications we have not. You can choose to deploy applications under the container. And these are all the UI facilities that allows us to use a very easy way to deploy our application. And you can see that all the information for the 3 nodes have been created in here. And there's also a way for us to load container images through that option. So going back, since we have 3 nodes, 1 master and 2 slave nodes, there's also a choice for us to scale up or scale down the cluster. So by means of just doing a simple configuration and submitting the change request to the UI, you can see that within seconds, the backend will automatically take out one of the slave nodes after we scale it down, right? It will refresh after a while. So now, after we refresh it, it just shows that there's only 1 remaining slave node. Can you switch? Can you switch?
Switch screen. Switch screen, please.
Can you switch?
Switch slides.
Thank you. So back to the portfolio, basically. So you've seen that we created a container infrastructure or software infrastructure for our next step. What we want to achieve here is that we want to show you how we can orchestrate deploying an application as the next 2 steps, right? So let's go to the next one. So EasyStack, we have a concept of application marketplace. Basically, it helps us to allow a developer to be able to come into our dashboard or our ES Cloud portal, whereby you can actually do application management and deploying an application and making sure that all the key status of the application and the links are available, right? So there are several things that I'll be introducing after this. So basically, we will be orchestrating our offering, but we need to be able to perform this. So what we do is that over time, as we do the orchestration of multiple different components in the software infrastructure, we accumulate a lot of assets, right? So these assets can be listed and cataloged in our portal that can be reused by many users, or rather tenants of multiple users, right? So let's go on and then look at closely about our visual orchestration. So I mentioned earlier on that through the UI, we have two ways to basically do the orchestration. We can either do use a visual interface, a designer, a graphical designer to achieve that, or we can use an import format of a YAML file, right? Later on, right after this, we're going to show a demo of that. And ultimately, what we're trying to do is that the target deployment through the Heat engine can go to OpenStack and our container infrastructure that we created earlier on before the stack, or we can choose to target a third-party hybrid cloud app, infrastructure. It can be on AWS, it can be on another private cloud environment. So Robert, shall we do that?
Yeah, I'm so interested in the visual orchestration. Just show me, how do you do that? What is the visual orchestration, please?
Yeah, I just want to briefly also add on. So when we use the designer, we're not just creating a lot of the infrastructure components. It also includes the platform as a service capabilities, like it can be databases, it can be big data, analytics type of applications, etc. These can be laid out here in future. So this panel can be very rich. So we'll show a simple demo right after this.
Show us a real one.
Okay. So we need to. Sorry, can we toggle the screen? Browser. It's a browser. We have a browser that we need to show. Can we do that? Can we do that?
Show the browser to the screen.
No.
Sign in.
Yeah.
Can the browser project
It needs to show up. I still need to go back to that last two. Look at this, is it? Would it be? Yeah. Here, you mean that? Okay, it's a little bit hard to yeah. Okay, so this is our dashboard that I was showing the demo earlier on. So what I'm going to do is that we're going to create an orchestration stack. So I click on the launch stack, right? And we will choose the graphical editor option.
This is the visual orchestrator, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
So you can see that you can simply just,
Private cloud, public cloud.
So just drag one of these external network over here, and then it's going to be connected by a router. Right? Yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit hard to see the resolution. Thank you. Thanks. This is much better. And then we're going to create another network segment at the back. And then we have a couple of compute instances that we want to put there as well. But before I do that, a load balancer. All right, and then we can
You're adding compute to it, right?
Yep, we have a compute node we add to it, right? And we can do some settings, basic settings like selecting a key pair for it, and then we add another one, another instance.
You're putting another compute, right?
Yep, the second compute. Then we'll just set the listener for that. And then for the load balancer, to do a round robin to one of the compute nodes. We can choose this option to the first one, for example, and then give it a port number. So with this topology that I've created over here, I can basically, go ahead and just deploy it. So when we click on the deploy, it should basically go and deploy, create this topology, instantiate both the compute servers as well as the load balancer nodes, as well as to create the networks that link up between them and allocate the IP addresses for it.
It seems to be easy. It's really visible and just drag and drop, right?
Yep. How do I get back to the... It is very, very difficult. Yeah, I want to use my presentation again. No. So after we deploy that, the topology, basically we're choosing our software infrastructure, the stack basically we created. We would then go on to deploy the application, which is on our OpenStack plus Kubernetes cluster right now. So what we've done is that we are embracing the open source ecosystem. And what we have done is to make sure that all these open source components that we've used in our architecture is and integrated and well tested to make sure that it's scalable. This thing would not work if we had not have a roadmap to be able to do this. So it's important to meet some of the requirements like scalability, stability, and security. And these three are really the key concerns of many of our application developers or operational enterprise operation staff. So I believe to address these needs with our platform capability today, we are able to, software and infrastructure platform capability, we're able to actually provide this to many of our clients. So I think that's probably coming to the end of my talk, Robert. Yes. I hope it helps you actually see that, we can quickly deploy this software infrastructure to our tooling. Yeah?
Yes, I think it's the easiest and coolest way I've ever seen.
Yeah. So if you have questions or you would like to talk to us, please come by our booth at A8, anytime to engage us for further discussion.
Yes. And A8 is somewhere behind the wall over there. Welcome to talk to us, and welcome to get a Sydney t-shirt from us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.